I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Jenny Carleo from Rutgers University. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. As an agricultural agent, one of my positions is to talk to farmers and work with them directly to help them improve their businesses through informed decision making. So what we did was we conducted a survey of organic consumers in the Mid-Atlantic to research their marketing opportunities for them. So we all know that the organic market's very hot right now, but we need to know more about who the people are that are buying organic products, and we also need to know what are they really looking for. That way we can meet the demand and we can do it more efficiently. So first I'm just going to give you a snapshot of the organic market overall in our country. Let's see. So you can see that the organic market just keeps increasing year after year. More people are buying organic products. The demand is increasing up to $43 billion in 2015. And even internationally, our market is huge compared to other countries, even European countries and even China, which is a much bigger country than our own country. So this is 2013 data from an international source. And in our own country, organic has nearly 20,000 retail outlets, and almost 3/4 of all grocery stores are offering organic products. This accounts for over 5% of retail sales in the U.S., total food sales in the U.S. So like I said, we're looking into reaching the target market with our survey. Before I tell you about the details of our research, I was kind of curious to see what you guys think the organic consumer looks like. So it's really not conducive to you guys talking back to me because it's so loud in here. But how about you raise your hands if you think that most organic consumers are male? How about female? How about both? Okay. What race do you think they are? White. Where do you think they live? Do you think they're urban, suburban, rural? Urban? Okay. And what do they want? What is the products that they're really looking for the most? Okay. Well, what was that? Milk and baby food? Okay. So what I'm hoping to do with this presentation, my objective here today is to maybe confirm some of your observations or maybe give you some new information that you may not have already known about organic producers in the Mid-Atlantic region, organic consumers in the Mid-Atlantic region. So I already talked about that. So what did we do? We did a survey, and we hired a professional survey company who has all the avenues to research this kind of thing. We had them screen out from 5,000 people. They surveyed 1,100 people in the Mid-Atlantic, and they did this during 1 week in March in 2016. So all these people, those 5,000, were pre-screened. We needed to know their identity. We had to make sure they were adults. They had to live in what we define as the Mid-Atlantic region, so that's very Jersey-centric because Rutgers is in New Jersey. So it's New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey for this purpose. And the person had to be the primary organic food shopper, not the primary shopper in the household, but the organic food shopper. And they had to purchase organic products within the last year. And what did we ask them? We asked them, what did you buy? How much did you pay for it? How many times did you buy organic? And all kinds of demographic information, so we can really target who they are. So this is the answer to who they are. 56.9% were suburbanites, and following urban with about 1/4 of them, and then the rest were rural residents. And just to show you the breakdown of where these people were from, so I want to confirm to you that this survey did not favor one state over the other. The people that answered our survey were proportionate to the populations in the different states. So New York has the biggest population in the region, then Pennsylvania, then New Jersey, then Maryland, then Delaware. So for their demographics, they had a pretty stable situation in the living environment. They were living in the same place for over 14 years on average, and they had small families. So it was 2 people or a little bit more on average, and on average they were 48 years old, which actually surprised me a little bit. But it would make sense if they have a small household that they might be two adults with older children, like teenagers or maybe early college. Now, level of education. I thought this was pretty surprising. The predominant group was the four-year college degree at 40%. Only 23% of the consumers had a graduate degree. Up to high school was 20%, and two-year college degree was 17%. So you can see this is possibly not what you were anticipating. It certainly wasn't what I was anticipating from the data. Then I'm going to talk about gross income. So even more surprising, above $250,000 gross income, so that's before taxes, only 4% of those people responded to our survey that they were organic consumers. The biggest group was income between $100,000 and $250,000. Then it was pretty evenly divided up between the 20,000 to the 100,000, and less than $20,000 a year was very minimal purchasing. Okay, in terms of demographics, John, you were right. It's predominantly Caucasian, 82.6%. Very minimally the other ethnic groups or the other races that we found to be. And you guys were all right, predominantly female, 75.5%. So let's talk a little bit about labeling. We all know image is important, labeling is important, but let's see how important it is. How many people do you think, how many consumers read the label before they purchase? All of them said they read the label. All of them said they read the label. Only 2 people in the whole survey said that they never read the label, and 48% said that they always read the label before they buy. And then 31% said usually, so I'm sorry about the extra Y issue on there. So this is an interesting graph. We're going to spend some time on this, so feel free to look at it for all the details. This question was, if it's on the label, will this word influence your decision to buy? So 87% were looking for certified organic. And then pesticide-free, which they're not the same thing. Hopefully you know that organic growers, even if they're certified, they can apply pesticides. It's just a certain set of pesticides. But pesticide-free is also a good marketing label to use, as well as locally grown. And conventional, you can see that's the only one that the no exceeded the yes in all of these names. So this is the ranking, so the most influential to least influential that were the labels on the product. Certified organic, that was the biggest one, that was the highest ranking one that they want to see on the label. Second was locally grown. And I want you guys to pay attention to locally grown in general in the future, because what's happening with local is that today's consumer is looking for authenticity, and they're looking for authentic experiences. And locally grown offers them that, because the product, a lot of times the farmers will be growing something that does not ship well. So you can only get it in that specific region. And the flavor is typically very good, is a good quality flavor because it doesn't ship. And just as a plant biologist, the two things sometimes, it's very hard to get them to be the same. If you think a red delicious apple, it's beautiful, it ships well, it stores well. Is that the best quality, flavor, and texture? Probably not. So keep an eye on locally grown, because that is our second favorite label for the consumer, even above natural. Now, store loyalty. This is a big question on everyone's minds lately, because we're really concerned about loyalty, product loyalty, brand loyalty, store loyalty. So for the grocery stores, it had dramatically low loyalty. Even some of these people were going to 6 or more stores to shop at the grocery store. 84% though said that they never changed their online purchase location, which was completely different than all of the other data that we got. And what I noticed is the direct retail has high loyalty, like in the 60 percentile, that they might only visit 1, 2, or 3 if they do branch out. But what they want from the direct retail is They want to interact with the farmer, so buy directly from the farmer, but they also want variety. So the highest loyalty was from things like community farmers markets, like the Green Market in New York City, where they have a variety of many different vendors, but they actually get to do that direct retail face-to-face with the farmer or with the farm itself. Now, why were things that they said that they did not purchase more organic fruits and vegetables? 60% that they would purchase more if organic wasn't so expensive, 49% said it was limited for varieties, and 31% said that the supply was inconsistent. So how often did they buy these things? Vegetables, fruits, and dairy, those were the things that they said that they buy at least 3 to 4 times a month. Usually that's their average. Eggs, meats, and processed foods were sometimes to 1 time a month. And 21% said that they never purchased organic processed foods, which was surprising to me. So purchasing behavior. Also, if you have any questions, Jim has the mic, so you can ask me questions, because these slides are a little unattractive because there's so many numbers. So if you have questions, feel free to ask me. I kind of built that into the presentation timeline. So on average, they're spending only $26.88 for each shopping trip on organic produce, fruits and vegetables. And they typically go to 4 or more different organic farms and markets in a year. And they're willing to travel an average of 10 miles. Okay, in terms of the most important fruits and vegetables, so what did they really want? Which products did they want to see as an organic product? Apples were a big one. Probably a remnant of the Alar scare in the 1980s. That was much bigger than the other ones. Tomato, which by the way is a fruit, botanically. One of our coworkers says, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in your fruit salad. Strawberries, also bananas, grapes, and then in vegetables, they really wanted to see organic lettuce. And carrots, spinach, broccoli, greens and herbs. We have all of this data, but I just kind of summarized it for you. Now, this one was interesting too. How interested are they in value-added products? They really weren't that interested in value-added products. And you can see from all of this data, organic sliced fruits and vegetables, 53% said no. And that was the lowest. That was actually the best out of all of these. Organic juices and sauces, 61% said no. Dried fruits, vegetables, chips, 61% said no. Organic jam, jelly, marmalade, same thing. Organic chutney and pickles, 78% said no. And organic wine, 79% said no. So really the market for these value-added products currently, for whatever reason, is not as strong as the market for the fresh products. Okay. Okay. Berries is later on. I want to say it was number 10. But that was so general, berries, I thought, I didn't really like how that was in there. Yeah, it is interesting. I have the whole chart. If you want to see that, I can show it to you. So farmers or any marketers, they can target, especially in our country, people who read the labels. Obviously, everyone's saying they're reading the label. People who think country of origin is important. If you're growing in America, if you're producing in America. Those who use food advertisements. So that wasn't in this presentation, but we found that the majority of them use print. They do want to look at the food advertisements. And pesticide-free, the absence of pesticides, those who think that that is important can market to them. And those who say that the quality of produce is important. And quality is interesting because they might be saying quality, but they might be thinking the experience of consuming a high-quality product or of seeing a high-quality product. So quality is a little bit of a loaded word. You probably should look more into that. And of course, these Caucasian female shoppers, that's who's really looking for this. I actually, as I was going through this data, all the demographic data, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this sounds just like my friend named Jen. And my son actually calls her Organic Jen because she only eats organic food. She refuses to eat any other food. So it's kind of nice when your data actually matches your reality. And those who buy at direct farm markets or in like a retail situation where they feel a personal relationship with the marketer. So I presented this research as part of a team. Dr. Ramu Govindasamy is actually the lead on the project. And we have several other Rutgers professors, agricultural agents on this project, as well as someone from the Northeast Organic Farming Association of New Jersey, and someone from New Jersey Department of Agriculture. And the project was sponsored by a FSMIP grant from the United States Department of Agriculture. I also wanted to let you guys know about a project that I'm working on currently. It's called the Rutgers Ultra Niche Crops Project. And what we're doing is we're filming videos, on-farm videos. We have an interview with the farmer, an interview with the buyer, and an interview with the researcher, so that people can get a good idea of what it takes to grow this crop. But part of that is there's also marketing advice in it. So the buyer's telling you what they want, what they're looking for in their own words. So those videos are about 20 minutes each. We have done already basil, garlic, strawberries. We're going to do pick your own blueberries. And roselle, which is an ethnic crop, we're going to be filming that tomorrow, publishing it soon. So if you would like, take one of these postcards and you can check out our website. Does anyone have any questions for me? I have more information. Okay.
Questions?
Can I take these? Thank you.
Why do you think the difference in preference for organic of the value-added foods was so different than like the fresh produce?
Okay, so why was the interest in value-added foods lower than the fresh produce? I was thinking about that too. I was trying to figure it out. We did a lot of different analyses on this, so I probably could find out the actual answer in the data for you, but I didn't do that for this presentation. But from the other answers that I saw coming in, it's possible that either they don't trust the product to be organic because they're not really sure what farm it came from. It's sort of this third party produced the value-added product, or they don't want something processed. It could be one of those two things is my best guess. Any other questions?
Sorry, I might have missed this. So the survey questions were for people actually purchasing the items?
Right.
Okay, so what about the idea of like people purchasing it for their kids or for the really high income? What if they have like someone else is buying their produce?
Oh, sorry, if they had high income where they had what?
Like, for example, if someone else was buying the produce, like looking at the purchaser versus the actual consumer, do you think that's like the same or there's like differences?
So what we did for this was we made sure that we captured the opinion of the person who most frequently purchased organic products. So they were the ones who cared the most about it in the household. We didn't do any of the consumers that were just a recipient of the product based on the buyer. That's a good question. We should probably look into that too. It'd be interesting to know.
Hi, I might have missed this as well since I came in a little late. Did you layer any of these findings over the conventional consumer and how that rates comparably to their purchasing, say, of produce, fresh produce versus value-added or some of the other information that you captured in purchasing behavior comparably to conventional purchasing behavior of consumers?
Well, we did all different kinds of cross analyses, and actually this presentation was written by someone else, and I distilled it to be consumable for all people, as opposed to someone who does statistics all the time. We have, so I don't know the answer to that question right now. If you contact me, I will find out for you. We have some other stuff here, like, let me see if I did put it in here. Oh, sorry, I did not put it in here. There's a lot of different cross-analyses, so we may have looked at that. We pretty much analyzed all of the crosses between everything, especially the demographics with the products and things like that. So if you contact me, I'll try to find out for you.
Thank you.
Other questions? So I realized that the study you presented today was about the consumer that you were analyzing. I was wondering if you care to speculate about the organic consumer 3 to 5 years from now, perhaps in some of the discussions you had with other members of the study. What does the future look like?
Okay, that's a great question. What is the future of organic? I think that is, at this time, things are so volatile in our country in terms of where they're getting their information from, what people are caring about. I think we're not able to tell that at all. Hold on. Okay, I think they're going to become more educated about what organic agriculture is. I think there's going to be regulation changes to organic agriculture that are probably going to be more strict and probably more difficult to produce organically. I think local is always going to be something that's going to be progressing. Also, urban agriculture is really on the rise, and what we're seeing here, a trend in America, is we call it the graying of the farmers. So they're getting old. The average age of farmers is getting older and older in America. It's about 60 years old right now. The new farmers that are coming on do not have land. So they're buying small parcels, they're buying, or they're renting small parcels, and sometimes it's in an urban environment where there's a lot of people and a high demand. So I think we're going to be going closer to, the postcards that I sent out. I'm working on that long-term project because that's teaching beginning farmers how to make more money from less land, and that's the trend that I'm seeing is smaller farms, more urban farms, urban agriculture. And in terms of the organic, I think that's always going to be, or not always, but in the next 5 years, I don't think that's going to go away. But I would keep an eye out for local, too.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Are you familiar with the term orthorexic or orthorexia?
Can you say it again?
Orthorexia, like anorexia, but orthorexia.
No, I'm not.
It is a proposed diagnosis in the mental health field of basically an obsessive compulsive of analyzing foods to the point that they restrict their diets to the point where they have both social and health problems that they don't.
Okay.
Kind of the people who read all the labels and then hear something different and read the labels and throw out half their stuff. I mean, those would be the excessive compulsives. And I mean, when we look at kind of the interview with consumers, do we find people who have with a large level of distrust of their food supply and things like that? I mean, is it?
That's a great question and a good observation. There was the reason why I didn't put the information in here about. It's the next slide actually. I saved this for a question. Source of information about organic produce. So where do they get it? None of these said, where 90% said they don't get it from extension or universities, they don't get it from relatives, friends, they don't get it from the internet, they don't get it from TV or newspaper or radio. So I didn't put this on here because I'm thinking, this is like a non-answer. 90% said they don't use any of these items to figure out, anything about organic, not advertisements, but information about organic produce. So where are they coming up with it? Maybe that's the answer. Oh, hold on. Where's the mic? Hold on a second. Thank you.
Have you seen I think it's a FedEx or a UPS commercial, and it's about a woman in a bookstore, and they're doing more business because of their shipping, and she's, of course, maybe they're buying books because they don't want to keep their secrets. That would be your organic customer. They don't believe anything or anybody, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't ask them any of those kind of questions, but possible.
Anything else? Any other questions? Professor Carleo, thank you so much. Let's show our appreciation.
Thank you.